Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of KuzilCraft. This is episode 6. Well, unfortunately, we had some technical difficulties, and I did not get audio recorded for this video. That's so frustrating because right after this, I had another video, and it worked really well. I don't know what happened. Well, okay, so it looks like we're going to be doing a voiceover for this. It's about a 36-minute video, and I'm just going to be rambling as we go. Well, what I'm showing you on screen here is the Powa mod. Like I discussed in the last episode, we want to go over the Powa mod. It is one of the better power generating mods that let you start off pretty cheap. Just for a couple coal, a piece of clay, and some blaze powder, you can get going. So what I'm showing you here is I'm making some dielectric paste. That's the stuff that takes the coal, clay, and blaze powder. And I grabbed a stack of each one. And well, you know what? Each craft is 16, so it's like 32 stacks or 16 stacks of this thing. You don't need that much, so don't make like a whole stack. Anyway, but I do recommend making this book, which is what I'm doing right now. I'm making the book. So I've made the dielectric paste, and then I'm going to grab the materials to put together the book. And we've been using the recipe from Tinker's Construct for our books. For some reason, we have leather, but for some reason I don't want to use the leather. It's just so much easier, but I for some reason am insisting on using the more difficult pattern. Whatever. Anyway, so the cool thing about the Powa mod is, like I said earlier, is that you can start off very, very cheap. As long as you have the blaze powder, that's really the most expensive part. Oh, excuse me. And then the I think it's time to sip on some coffee. Very professional video, I know. All right, so the Powa mod, it lets you start off cheap, and then you can improve the blocks as you go. As I'm showing you here in the book, I'm doing some explanation, which is why nothing's happening on the screen. But we'll be going through some of the generators. They've got energy cubes. They've got wireless cross-dimensional energy cubes. Those are more expensive, obviously. They've got player power recharge system, which is so nice. For example, you can set up your power system, and then you can put one of these player items next to that, and then you just have to make a card for yourself, right click it on you, and then put it in there. And wherever you go in that world, your items stay charged on you. It's really powerful. And if you were able to click your card on an Enderman, it's cross-dimensional. So yeah, you can get some really cool things going as far as, like, let's say that you've got some power tools or whatever, tools that require RF, and you're gonna have them charged all the time. It's really neat. They have some passive power generation, which is what I'm showing you here, the thermal generator. So like a block of lava, you stick this on top of, and it generates power. A block of a magma block, and put it on top of that, generates power. And I think there's like another one, the blaze something or other, blaze gold. Anyway, but okay, so what I'm showing you here is don't make these solar panels. They have the same power production as the thermal generators, and to make the second, so the starter is the first level, basic is the next one, hardened is the next one. To make the starter, you need 3 of the basic. To make the hardened, you need 3 of the starter. So I'm sorry, the other way around. Starter, to make the basic, you need 3 of the starter, and then to make the hardened, you may need 3 of the basics. That means you need 9 starter to make the hardened. That's just ridiculous. I hate when mods do that with solar panels. Just let me use one. Let me use the one that I've crafted to upgrade to the next one. Even if I have to put in more materials, it's just having to craft that many, it's ridiculous. I tried to auto craft a top end tier, just one of them, and it was going to take like an hour for everything to craft. It was crazy because it was making, like, you think about that, when you go up to the next one, Blaze, it takes 3 of the hardened, which is like, you know, 27 of the starter, and it goes up from there. So, yeah. So don't make the solar panel. Make the Furnator. That's a play on the 2 words furnace and generator, because it's a furnace generator. The Furnator starter is relatively cheap. It's just that dielectric paste and iron, basically. I'm showing you that here. I'm trying to make iron bars. And then if you have the materials, and if you've been playing along with me and you have the chicken set up, I would just go ahead and go straight to the basic. And hardened is a little bit, you're not going to be able to do hardened. I need more coffee. I'm trying to do this first thing in the morning, because I want to get this uploaded so you can watch. Because getting into power is really important for these modded playthroughs. So many things take power, and especially our bees. Our bees are going to take a lot of power, guys. So that's why I haven't got into them. I'm really excited about the bees. They're really, really cool. They take a lot of time, but they do require a lot of power. So in order for them to run efficiently at max capacity, and that's kind of what we want to do, right? These chickens will grow up. They will get more experience as we use them, but the bees you can start off like right away doing very big things. So we need a couple things before we get into bees. All right, so this Furnator, you see that I tossed a piece of carbon in there, a piece of coal in there, and it turned it into carbon. And it's going to use that carbon. That carbon's going to go down, and the power is going to be generated. Now, the starter one only does 20, and the basic one does 80. So it's 4 times as much. I would definitely recommend getting straight into the basic Furnator. Now, one thing to know about the Furnator, as you go up, you will not get more power per coal. It will actually burn through the coal faster. Let me rephrase that. So a piece of coal gives a certain amount of carbon, and each tier of Furnator as you go up burns through that carbon faster. Does that make sense? So it's not designed to where one piece of coal is going to give you more power. Rather, you need to produce more coal to produce more power. But the higher tier Furnator is going to allow you access to more power because it will burn through the coal faster. I hope that's clear. The thermal actually doesn't require more. It does require more water, I believe. Which isn't a problem, and I'll show you how to do that at the end of this video. But as far as power generators go, the Powa mod is exceptionally well designed. They have this thing called an energy hopper, which is what I'm showing you here. So there is something I want to build, and I can't remember if it's in this video or the next one, but the energy hopper is it's sort of like an item hopper, right? So you use an item hopper to put items from something into another inventory, right? And so the energy hopper is going to do just that exactly. It's going to put energy from our generator into something else. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to be facing that energy hopper at a chest or some sort of inventory. It doesn't matter. Oh, I just had an idea. Well, I'm going to have to try that in episode 8. Anyway, so yeah, you point it at an inventory and it charges everything that's in that inventory, which is really cool. So I'm going to run over here and show you that real quick. You know, I thought about doing this voiceover where I was trying to pretend like nothing happened. And just being like, oh yeah, so if you face it this direction and open up the chest and you look in here, look at all those empties, look at all that empty space. That would only be funny to me, and I think I would giggle along the way, so it wouldn't work. Anyway, so you notice that I only made a starter energy hopper, and there's a reason for that. So yes, you absolutely can do a basic energy hopper, but I would not recommend that because that energy cell, or the fernator, the basic fernator, generates 80 RF per tick. Now RF, let me just make sure that I cover this. RF stands for I'm sorry, it's FE, not RF. RF is the old one. That was Redstone Forge. FE is what we're producing now. I think they're interchangeable, but FE is Forge Energy. All right, so here's why you only want to do the starter energy hopper. Well, the starter energy hopper has a hopper maximum of 1,000,000 FE. It'll store 1,000,000 FE. Well, that generator only does 80 FE per tick, which is it's going to take a long time to fill that hopper up. Well, if you go to the basic hopper, it's 4,000,000. It'll store 4,000,000. So I would not recommend doing that. That's going to take forever. You'll never have any energy. Anyway, so now I want to get into the other mod that I'm really excited about. This is the Iron Jetpacks mod. This is another mod that's really well designed. It starts off very basic, and then you can upgrade it as you go, as you get more materials. As you upgrade, the jetpacks become more powerful, and they store more energy, meaning they last longer. The wooden jetpack is a tier 0. It's a very entry level. It is the entry level jetpack. You must make this jetpack in order to use or make any of the other jetpacks. Now it will consume this jetpack on craft of the higher tier, so don't worry about that, which is nice. Same thing with the Powa mod. It will consume the starter version to make the basic, which is really nice. You don't have extra starter stuff laying everywhere. You don't have a base wooden jetpack laying everywhere. That is one critique of Silent Gear, except there's a solution for that. So, which is really nice, which is really, really nice. Now, I wish if mods did what Silent Gear does, and you'll see that in the next video, then I don't mind them not being consumed. But I really do like when it's consumed for the upgrade. There's something else. Oh, the Silent Gear tool repair kit does not do that, and it really frustrates me. And there's no solution for that. So you have these old repair kits laying around. You have to throw them in the trash. It's awful. All right. So what I'm doing here is I'm showing you the difference. Your Emerald Jetpack, which is the highest tier jetpack, stores 48,000,000 FE. Now the biggest difference between your wooden one and the Emerald one, outside of the duration of time that you can fly without running out of power, is that the jetpack has something called a hover mode. Now the wooden jetpack, when you engage hover mode, you'll actually fall at a relatively quick pace. It's not going to be fast enough to where you're going to take fall damage or anything, but imagine like sometimes you can, like some mods will let you hold onto a chicken and you'll slow fall, or an umbrella or something like that, and you'll kind of slowly fall down. Well, but not super slowly. You fall pretty quick, but you won't take fall damage. It's just slow enough to where you won't take fall damage. Well, that's what the wooden jetpack does. And as you increase the tier, the hover capability becomes better and better. So you go from tier 0 to tier 1, you actually fall a little slower, which means you descend a little slower as you go from tier 1 to tier 2, etc., all the way up to tier 4, the Emerald Jetpack, which actually, when you hover, actually hovers. It stays right where you're at. It's not quite like Creative Flight, because there's thrust involved, and I'll show you that as we go. But right here, I'm crafting the different things. Now, these, I'm going to show you right here. You need 5 of those energy cells, and you need 11 coils per jetpack. So as you're making the jetpacks, you need 11 coils and 5 energy cells. Okay, each thruster is going to require a furnace, so you need 2 thrusters per jetpack upgrade. And all I'm doing here is crafting this. So you only need 11 of these, so don't right click. Oh, I do believe I went over this. So now you can shift left click on the move items to get all of them in there that you can craft. And if you were to right click here, you get all 16 of them, but I don't because I don't want to get all 16. I just want 11. But if you're wanting to craft quickly, so you can, I taught you how to left click on the plus sign to put the recipe over. But if you shift left click on that plus sign, it'll move everything over that can possibly go in there. That is the recipe, which is great if you're trying to make multiple stacks of something. You don't have to do that many, many times. It's so nice. But for this, for the energy cell, I wonder if I'm going to do this. So shift left click. I only want 5 of these, so I'm going to left click here. And I need 6 more of those for the recipe. Yep. So I'm gonna shift left click. Oh, I need to go get some of these. And I should shift left click here and then right click on this because I want to consume all of these. So, oh, I'm just gonna manually do it. Okay. Or maybe I'll do it here. So shift left click for 2 of these and then right click here. Yep, that does all of them. Now right clicking, you got to get really good at this. You'll do this wrong and you'll craft 64 of something you only need 1 of. Or 2 of. It happens to everybody. But get used to it. Shift left click the plus sign adds in multiple crafts of the recipe. Left click once crafts a single one of those on the recipe, and right click crafts all of them. So now I'm putting this jetpack in this chest, and that energy hopper is charging that up. And you can put this on your chest, and look at how cool this looks. little wooden one. Now I'm a little concerned here because my backpack isn't showing, and normally the backpack shows, but I don't know that I care too much. Okay, one of the things that I recommend you do is go into options, click on your controls, click on keybinds, and then scroll down to Iron Jetpacks. And then I would change the throttle, decrease throttle, increase throttle. I would definitely have those keybound. And then engine, toggle hover mode. I would definitely have all 4 of those keybound. Descend is not as important because you can just hold shift to descend. Now your thruster actually is also more powerful the higher tier you go. So you may want to start off with 100 at the wood and then go up from there. So you can see that the 20% throttle was very slow, whereas the 100% throttle is a little bit quicker than 20%. But as you get up in tiers, you'll notice that the different throttle percentages actually have a big effect. And then, so another thing to keep in mind with these jetpacks, so space is your thrust. That's how you go up. So it's like jumping. Shift is how you descend, or you can just fall. Turn your jetpack off, or you could just let it descend naturally on its own. Now hover will not work without the engine, right? So if I were to be standing on top of a roof and I would have hover engaged, and I jumped off without the engine on, nothing would hover. So in order for hover to work, the engine has to be engaged. However, the engine will work even if hover is not engaged, okay? So that's some things to keep in mind. And yes, you will take fall damage, unless you make some like fall damage boots, but I'm just playing here. You can see how fast this goes down. It's basically 1,000 FE per second, almost. I mean, it's a very quick consumption. So you think about that. If this holds 12,000 FE and the highest tier one holds 48 million, then you can understand how it'll last much longer. I do think it's more efficient as well the higher you go. So maybe it's less than 1,000 per second. Maybe it's more like 500 per second. But you can definitely last much longer with a higher tier. So I definitely recommend, and this is what I'm telling you here, I recommend increasing to at least copper or stone. Stone is less efficient than copper, but copper is also very plentiful. Most people, even if you're playing without the chickens right in here, you should have enough copper to at least go to the copper one. The difference between the copper and the stone one, they're both tier 1, but the copper one has just a little bit more capacity in it than the stone one. And each tier has one of those where it has just a little bit more capacity than everything else in there. There's probably some other aspects, unique aspects of it that make it more user-friendly, but so yes, so the Powa mod is really, really good. I recommend doing that because I recommend you getting a jetpack. Having flight early on is super important to getting around. It's all of Minecraft, modded Minecraft is all about time saving, right? So I was thinking about this the other day because a lot of people say things like, you know, the chickens are cheaty, or the bees are cheaty, or mystical agriculture is cheaty. That's just because, yes, I'm not spending the time to go get the items that I need. Well, you think about it. I have 168 pages of recipes in this mod pack at what, like 100 and something recipes each page. That's so much to craft, and so many of those things require tons of materials. Well, it would take you years to play through a modded Minecraft game if you didn't have any sort of resource generation. So all it's doing is it's compressing the time from, you know, from like many years to like a normal play style, normal play time, right? So you call it cheaty if you want, but it's just in perspective of the time it takes to play. These things are really good. Now what I'm showing you here is that when you craft from the wooden to the copper, it keeps the power from one to the next, which is really nice, especially if you're going from like millions of FE to other millions of FE. So it's good to keep the power. So we're just gonna go straight to an iron. This is a tier 2. It's not super great, but it's pretty mid tier. But all it takes is iron. Now it also takes a second tier of those energy coils. So it's gonna be oil. It's gonna be gold and iron instead of just iron and sticks. So we're gonna go ahead and show you this. Now it's the same thing. You need 11 of the coils and 5 of the energy cells. So get 11 of these. So again, I'm just going to left click. I shift left clicked it for the recipe, and then left clicked it for each craft. And then I'm going to do the same thing. Shift left click, and then left click for these. I just need 5. And then we're going to shift left click, right click. There you go. And then shift left click, which you don't need, but you can just left click and then left click here. Perfect. Now I'm going to go toss this into the charging station, and it should increase it pretty quick. Now the nice thing is, if you have a lot of power generation, definitely increase those energy hoppers, because you can generate enough power that it's not going to be that big of a deal to store, you know, millions and millions. And it's the same thing with the energy cells. So the energy cells are like batteries for the Powa mod, and they will store a lot of power. So definitely make energy cells. I recommend that. Don't use the cables from this mod. Use the cables from the pipes mod. You can use the cables from this. Just know that I don't know. Actually, you do what you want. I just don't like the upgrading. I just don't like the upgrading system. I want to be able to create a pipe that works, energy connector that works, and yeah. All right, what are we doing here? I'm looking at silent gear for some reason. Oh, I'm talking about going into the nether. I do want to increase my repair kit, so there's just going to be some iron and a diamond. So you saw me there. I just made an iron tool rod just by putting 2 iron pieces together. I didn't actually have to have the recipe for it, which is kind of cool. Little trick I showed you. I think I'm trying to find my diamonds here. There we go. So I'm going to make the next one. And you know how, like, when we went from the very crude repair kit, and it could only store 8 items, I think it was. And then we went to the crude one, and it could store 16. This one can store 32. So you'll notice that as we go, it doubles the materials that it can store, and it increases the repair efficiency by 5% per tier, which is really nice. So 4 crafts here, 4 full crafting things of it, and I really should just delete that. It's losing stuff in it, but we have chickens that are producing it. So, all right, my jetpack is full. We could go to the nether. But instead of going to the nether, I think what we're going to do is we're going to show you how to craft the thermal generator from... Oh, yeah. I noticed that I had crimson iron. I got really excited. We wanted to go to the nether because we wanted to find crimson iron. Now, if you don't have crimson iron, like I found it, I'm going to show you here. You remember that little place that was like on the map that was over on the right-hand side? I just have coordinates on it. I found some of that in the box over there. Well, if you don't have that in your world, and I don't expect you to, take your jetpack and your tools that you've made, go into the nether, find 4 crimson iron. It's just going to look like a red ore. It's going to be everywhere. It's very common. It's sort of like if you played Tinker's Construct, finding cobalt. Cobalt was blue. Crimson iron is going to be red, which is kind of neat. Anyway, so find 4 of these, come back, and craft something called the salvager from Silent Gear. Now what this is going to let you do is it will let you salvage your old parts. It's like an uncrafter for Silent Gear. Yeah. It's not bad. Block of iron, obsidian, a piston, and then 4 of those crimson irons. And again, that's just going into the nether for a little bit and finding 4. I was really excited because I didn't have to go into the nether yet. But make sure you have your bow. We did that in the last episode. And yeah, you can stick your items in here. Now, how this salvager works is, even though it's got a giant inventory, once it's done crafting, you have to remove those before it will do anything else. And I'll show you how that works here in a minute. So what I would recommend is either using the pipes mod or using the using hoppers. I would take the items out from underneath it and see, watch this. So these will craft, and the craft bar looks like it's going to work, but it won't finish because we have items in there. Yeah. So we'll take those out, and then it will finish. So now what you can do with your fragments, if you get fragments, is put them in a crafting grid just like that, with the empty hole in the middle, and you'll get your items back. So definitely toss in all your previously crafted items, toss them in there, and get your resources back. Okay, one last thing about the Powa mod while we're talking about it, and we will definitely go into this later, is that it has a reactor. Now, some reactors explode, and we do have reactors in this mod pack that explode. We just have 2. We have the fission reactor from Mechanism and the fusion reactor from Mechanism. Actually, I don't think the fusion reactor explodes. I think it's just the fission reactor. Now, fission is the splitting apart of atoms, and fusion is the joining together of atoms. The fission reactor uses radioactive material, just like a what do they call those? Power plants. The power plants that use radiation. Anyway, so those are, you know, modern day power plants are really, really good and safe. Ones from the 70s, not so much, but anyway, so the nuclear reactors. So my goodness, that took me forever. You can tell I'm still waking up. But the nuclear reactor, so they just call it a fission reactor from Mechanism, will blow up. No other reactors in this mod will blow up. Mod pack will blow up. None of them. So the reactor from Powa will not blow up. It's very powerful. It's very useful, and I'll show you how to use it once I get over there. But the extreme reactors will not blow up. It's one of my favorite things about them. They produce a ton of power and will not blow up. Very easy to use. I love it. What am I doing here? Just running around looking at stuff. I'm probably just talking sort of like I'm talking now. But with our chickens here, it will be really easy to produce what we need to produce for the reactor. And I should probably come up with a place to do all of our power generation. I should put that somewhere else. Aha! So I'm grabbing one of these magma blocks because I'm going to show you what the thermal generator looks like. Now, again, just like the coal generator, I would definitely make this the basic right away, not the starter. This is gonna run. Oh, yeah. You can use bitumen in there. I don't actually know how to pronounce that. Bitumen. But definitely make this. So this is gonna be a little bit more expensive, but again, if you can make the dielectric paste, you have access to blaze powder. Just definitely make one of these because this is passive power. The only thing you need to feed it is water. And the magma blocks won't catch anything on fire, which is really nice. There we go. Now that's gonna, I'm just telling you, but yeah, but the power, it won't catch anything on fire. And then you can stick your generator right on top of that. So it requires 3 of these thermal plates on the bottom, and we're just going through the crafting process that you saw earlier. Just use JEI for whatever you need. Some of the tiny capacitors require one of the normal capacitors will make 2 tiny capacitors. So that's how you make all the starter stuff. And then when you go to the basic, it's a regular sized capacitor. And I'm just like clicking over here the recipe, finding what I don't have. And making more of them. So eventually we will have access to all of our materials. We don't have to keep running back and forth. That actually won't be too long. But before we do that, we need to get into a couple other mods, and we need a building for that. So I'll be building a building in between episodes for that purpose. And I'm trying to decide where I want to do that. I have this really, really cool underground cavern. I mean, guys, it's really cool. It's huge. It would be really cool to build like a power plant down there, or a processing plant down there. Something that's like everything is automated. But one of the things we need to get is, I'm trying to figure out why this isn't working. It's because I don't have any water going into it. But one of the things we need to get before we can access all of our materials in the chicken coop from somewhere else is netherite. Well, as you know or may not know, netherite is found at the bottom of the nether. Getting down there is challenging. And it requires coolant like fluid like water. So what I'm going to show you is one of the greatest ways to get water in modded Minecraft is from cooking for blockheads. It's something called the sink. And we will go over cooking for blockheads in the next episode. But for this, we just need a bucket and some terracotta, which we've made a bunch of because of the chickens. And we can actually use our jetpack to go get this water here. So previously I would just fall down here and then have to go around to come back up. But we can use our jetpack to come straight back up. Save so much time. That's what everything's all about. Well, this sink, okay, this sink is overpowered. Definitely, I would definitely agree to that. For what it does, it's very powerful. So it's an unlimited source of water. It's taking that source block and it's making it an unlimited source block. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stick this on top of the energy hopper, and then I'm going to pipe the water just straight into it like that. And then I'm going to use this. Don't forget to change it to pulling. Pulls the water out. Now this is generating power, and we have infinite water. But anyway, so that's pretty much it for today's episode. I'm sorry about the voiceover. It's not as good when I'm not talking about it in person, but we have what we have, right? Well, anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. I'm going to end it here. Take care. We'll catch you in the next one. Bye-bye.